Hi everybody, you are watching tutorials. My name is Alex and today we're gonna design this isometric building in Gravit Designer. I will show you how to design it just like so from scratch. Although I use some sketches for references, I decided to create this entire tutorial from scratch. And here I will show you how to set colors depending on your light source, how to curve these lines on isometric grid, and as well as how to create these highlights and shadows. So let's start our tutorial, and as you can see, I have already set my grid. In order to do this, you need to click on empty spot of your canvas and then navigate to the document isometric and click this isometric. We are gonna build this design primarily around the default grid, so leave all the values as a default, but then I will show you where we're gonna switch to lesser modules. So far so good. Let's build our first front side, and in order to do this we need to grab the pen tool, click P, and first of all let's create a line, and this line should have a height, and this height should be 207. Now it has a 254 as you can see, so I need to set it to 207. Now I need to go to the top right, following my grid. If you can't follow your grid, make sure that you snap to the grid. Click on this chevron icon next to this magnet icon, and from drop down choose snap to grid option. So let's move further. As you can see, I still have 140 to 288, and the next cell will give me my desired size, 160 pixels of width and 300 pixels of height. Next, I'm gonna close my side, and let's go and grab pen tool again. This time I'm gonna create a left side. So we need to start with a line that is 100 pixels of width and 57.7 pixels of height, and then go and close our path. And last but not least, of course, we need to design a top side of this building. So far so good. We have a kind of box now, and let's also design some windows. So I'm gonna primarily work onto this stripe. So I'm gonna grab the pen tool and create my first stripe with a height of 1 cell. Then we can copy this stripe, and we can place this stripe. It's not easy to do, I should admit, but it should be snapped by Gravit. Another way to do this is to make just click Ctrl D to duplicate and then snap it with the grid, and then repeat this duplication again. So I have 4 stripes, and then I also want to draw the door, and for the door I simply want to put a 4 cell square here on the bottom. You see it here. And then we will create an entrance. Next, let's create stripes here. We can basically do this with the pen tool, and I will speed up my tutorial. So far so good. Now we reach some interesting part of our tutorial, how to create this curvy line. I will show you a couple of tactics. First of all, we can place a circle here, and this circle basically should snap, and then we can make another circle. And what you can do next is to grab the Subselect tool and slice a half of this circle. You can choose then how to arrange these pieces together. So you see, I have one half, and then I have another half, and they look very, very nice. Next, I'm gonna cover this half. I'm gonna cover this hollow part, right? So in order to do this, I'm gonna start here and then create basically we need to create a rectangle, and this rectangle can go beyond. It doesn't matter, it's even better that it's going beyond our design. Then grab this Subselect tool, and what we can do, we can unsnap from the grid in order to place our point on our shape. You see, now it's restricted to the grid line, so decided to unsnap from the grid. Reposition it just a bit, and then curve this line just like so. The same here, and again I'm gonna make some adjustments here. Don't forget, guys, that we can work around the outline mode. Just go to the view mode, and then outline view to make sure that all of your parts of your design is matched to it. And then I need to cover also this part as well. Pay attention that I'm working basically not around isometric grid. I'm gonna position it just here in the bottom left part of my circle, and then curve this part as well. So far so good. Let's take a look what we have. Let's enter the normal mode, full view mode. Well, we need to, without the strokes, without any strokes, but now we can actually grab and combine these two pieces together. I will make some adjustments. You see, grab the one pointer tool, second holding shift key, then navigate to the union and unite this part. It's a live effect, so you can then rearrange all of the pieces. I have these small defects, and I will remedy these defects back then. So it looks decent, and at this point I want to just enable my snap to grid option and continue drawing. I'm drawing this sharp shape in order then to smooth this corner. And we can smooth this corner basically just like so. And then we can grab these two handles, and arrange everything all together. Disable this option snap to grid and align everything. Then you can play with these curves as well, so you can basically align everything better. So let's place a minor, let's create a minor elements of this design. I want to create this rectangle on the roof. Again, I'm gonna enable the snap to grid option. Duplicate this rectangle holding shift key and alt or option key. Shift key because I'm gonna move it on the straight line. Then grab this and close another shape. So far so good. We have a lot of fine details already, and we will add even more a little bit later when we put some colors and establish our light source, because it's difficult now imagine these fine details without the light. So let's place our light source. We have our highlights done with a warm color, and our shadows are cold, so basically we need to establish the warm light source. Great, let's apply the colors, and you see some of them solids, like this left part. Let's start with this part because I believe it's the simple one. Delete the border and then add this color. So what I'm gonna do, I just want to create a swatch, not a global, but just for this document, and then go to this swatch and apply it to this shape. Next, I'm gonna select this front part and apply gradient. And again, I want to just click to the line of gradient and create a document swatch. Then apply the swatch to this fill. So first of all, apply the gradient and then apply the swatch. And as you can see, the lighter color, and lighter color in my design is this 9F664 F4 is arranged towards the light source. Next in our list is the roof top side. As you can see, it's just a modified front side, so I just darken this color. This color 6738D7 become this for C to B 99. So I want to create a new swatch in this document and then select my roof and apply the swatch to the fill. Apply gradient and then apply the swatch. And as you can see, the lighter color 9F664 F4 is oriented towards the light source, and this oriented away from. Now let's select all of the stripes that in our illustration do not also windows, and I will show you how to do with them. So click Shift and select all of these guys all together. Now let's delete the border and apply a gradient to the fill, and then I need to apply this swatch. So this swatch has on the spot that is away from our light source, FF4 FCD, and in the spot that is toward my light source I have DD62E3, and as you can see, this spot that should be brighter, right? But I make it less saturated. It's definitely more bright, but also it's less saturated. So I put a little bit more grayish here. Basically because I want to create a highlight here when we switch to the grid. So let's continue our illustration and let's recolor this part of on the top. So for this part, let me select some of the samples here and create a color stop and color swatch again. So delete the border from this left side and apply the gradient, and let me see what I have here. So away from spot is 352960, and towards spot is 8D53cc. Next in our list is the top and front side. So let's start with the top side. I'm gonna create another swatch. And for this swatch, let's apply the swatch, delete the border, switch to gradient and apply the swatch. So 4.7, 2D, 8.4 is that is away from the light source, and towards the light source we have 6.8, 4D, B9. You see it here. Now this front side, I'm gonna delete the border and apply the gradient. But before, I will of course copy this to the swatch. So towards the sun we have 9F66E4, and away from we have 6738D7. Brilliant. So far so good. It looks promising, and guys, we have a challenge here. You see, when we are dealing with the compound path, because we need to arrange the gradient according to the light source and also produce a little bit of highlight here. And also, so let's do this right now. And as you may see in my original illustration, I just recolored two parts. And let's do it right now. I'm gonna grab this part and I will rub this color from my front part, deleting this side. So let's add the swatch, and then I will explain this liner gradient. So delete the border, again go to the fill, apply the liner gradient, and this is a 3 colors gradient. First spot is away from our light source, and I need to darken it a bit. You see it here, so I think it's enough. So 2.8 OE 7.9. I will create another color stop, and this just threw it away. So 2.8 OE 7.9. Next is oriented at the position around 95, but I believe I can move it even closer. This color stop is 7C4A E2. 7C4A E2. And last but not least is color stop to denote a highlight. It's at the position of 100%. It's oriented towards the sun, and it's A1 5147. So far so good. Let's apply also a gradient to this glassy part. Okay, this window. I'm gonna start with this gradient, then I will reverse it, and I believe I need again create something like highlight here, and then darken this part just a little bit. It just saturated a bit, just desaturated a bit. So let me go to my spot that is away from the sun, and I will desaturate it just a bit. So far so good. Let's also recolor this roof. I believe we can rub the color from this roof and then, darken it with a shadow. So let us start with the liner gradient again, and then color, and last but not least, of course, as you can see, I have these small tails, so I need just a little bit to resize the whole shape, yes? And I will darken this part as well. So let me grab the Subselect tool and then convert it to the path. Ctrl-Shift-P, Command-Shift-P. This is how you can convert it to the path. And also I can unsnap from the grid. Or I need to hold Control to do the same temporarily. So this is it. And also I will make some changes here as well. And to this. Well, not this. What I'm looking for. Yes. Well, looks fine. I think with somewhere is hidden the part. Well, okay. This part is hidden here. So, guys. To our door, let's start with the same gradient. I will delete the border, again apply the gradient to that I applied to the glass, but then I will go to the more warm color, because this door is also emanate some light here, a real light. Casting highlight. So let's go to the more warm color. So far so good. And then guys, let's create some fine details of this illustration, and I will do this just by clicking on the freeze empty spot of my layers. I will delete everything here. Click on the empty spot of my layers and decrease the size of my illustration to around 5 pixels. Next, everything should be arranged properly. I'm gonna grab the pen tool and start drawing my design, and make sure that you snap to the grid again. So, because it's a part of our, let me grab this part. I will again rob the color from here as well. So I will add some swatches and then just apply the swatch here, and we will continue drawing the depths of our door. Grab the pointer tool, delete the border, and apply this guy again. And I believe I can make even solid color. I can apply the solid color here. I just need to put it right. Well, it looks decent. Okay, once we have all of these fine details as well, let's add some highlights, because they play and shadows. They play a crucial part in our illustration. We can also, guys, push this a little bit to the top. Now it looks fine. Let's start with the highlight, and first highlight, guys, is the highlight here. So let me copy this highlight, and I will explain what this highlight actually is. So this highlight is a solid shape with a fill color of E5 48 F5. You see it here. E5 48 F5. Then I add also a screen as my main blending mode. And also I will reduce the opacity to around 30. What I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna create a shared style, and I will name it highlight. So I can bring everything all together into and pour it into the shape. So I am just about to create this shape right now. Grab the pen tool and draw a rectangle with these parameters. This one cell and the entire height of our front part. You see it here. So it's our first highlight, and as you can see, it has already had this E5 48 F5 screen and 30% of opacity. Next, I will replicate this highlight also here. We can continue this and also create a highlight here, but be aware, guys, it requires a bit smaller highlight. So what we can do, we can reduce the size to around 2.5 and create a twice as smaller rectangle, and then apply the shared style. Replicate this rectangle also here. So far so good. Let's create a platform. I just want to grab this platform from here and copy it. And then I will explain it. So I'll explain how it works. So let me push it to the bottom of my last stack. As you can see, I have some design here. On the bottom, let me just, sorry guys, one moment. I need to delete this part. So this is a simple rectangle with a fill gradient of at the spot that is away from the light source, 6738 D7, and this spot towards the sun is DO 874 F4. Great, and let's create just random, but I will increase the size of my, first of all, increase the size of your grid. Click enter, grab the pen tool. I will make it a little bit closer my illustration, and then I will add some details here. So this is a light that should emanate from our entrance, and I will delete the border, and for the fill I will apply the gradient, and I believe this gradient is very close, it's something in between that we have on our windows and that I have on my front side. So let's start with my windows. I will arrange this like so, and then place a purple here, just here. So let me find a purple color, magenta, just a little bit of magenta, guys, of course. So now let's blend it. Let's apply mask here, opacity mask. In order to do this, we need to go to the effects, more, and then adjust and overlay. Adjust overlay, and make sure that you check these options here. This option called blend. check this option. It makes render one of the sides to transparent. And now let's just arrange this side, and you see, nicely done. We have something that is more closer to the light. And again, we can do the same here, I believe, but it's much smaller. We can continue. To save my time, I just want to create a new shared style, and call it light. Click create, and then I will apply the shared style here. Brilliant, right? Probably reduce some opacity, and then arrange some blend as well. Then I can manage the size of this highlight and direction. Looks great, but of course, as you can see, this we do not create a casting shadows. And first of all, let's grab them. It looks ugly. Let's grab some casting shadows. You will see that this is just a gray with a multiply as the main blending mode, but well, I want to push it a bit to the bluish part of my spectrum, and for a reason, because, well, warm color, warm light creates cold shadows, right? So we need to create a cold shadows here. So let's make something like this, and let's apply it from now. Let's create a shared style that called shadow. Click create, and then grab the pen tool and draw a shadow here. So casting shadow. Again, we need to curve this part as well. So I will create this, and probably here I missed the position of initial point. It should be here. And then I will curve this corner and push it, grab this guy and push it to cover all entire shape. And again, I believe we need to unsnap from the grid. In order to make it more precise. So for the good, guys, again, you can enter the outline mode to check whether you match everything together. And again, we have also this part, yes, on top, that is casting a shadow on the roof of our main building. So let's create this shadow first of all. Maybe, as you can see, this line is crossing the isometric grid, so it's not lying perfectly into the isometric axes, you see. So pay attention to this as well. Can grab the pointer tool and holding Control, Shift or Command and Shift and use your down arrow key or simply Control and down arrow key to push this shadow down on your layer stack. and apply the shared style that's called shadow. So, so far so good. I believe it looks much better, but we also miss the actual shadow that is casting by our main building, right, on the floor. So I will create it just right now. And again, we need to push it Ctrl Shift down arrow and then Ctrl up arrow once to position it right on the top of this platform. And again, this platform has also a long shadow, guys. I forgot to mention about the long shadow effect. You can go to the more shadow and long shadow and apply it with these parameters, -90 as the angle, length to 22, density to 100 and opacity to 100, and disable the fade. The color should be color should be 6C47FF, and on the, I believe on the spot that is toward the sun, it should be A6 to CA8. So let's again go to the shadow here, but for this shadow, of course, I want to also fade this top. I don't want it to be that harsh, so I will go to the more and go to the adjust and not a noise but overlay, and again activate the blend to render one of them to transparent, and then swap fill and stroke. And for some of the reason I have this multiply blending mode. You see, blend, just make it lighter. I have explanation. I have no explanation to this. Basically, we can grab the and apply the liner gradient, right? Then swap this gradient. Make it a little bit, put it to the gray here, and then decrease the opacity of this gray as well. Something like this. It's even more reliable because it doesn't require the raster effects that is not allowed. For example, if you save your image in SVG. So guys, this is almost the end. Last is our cherry on the top, and let me show you how to design this as well, and then also I will finalize my artwork by creating the light that emanates from my windows, right? So this is something that I create on the top, and I start with the ellipse. I start with the ellipse, and I will snap it to the and position it on the top of my roof. Then I will Control Shift P, Command Shift P, and what we can do, we can try to simply grab this point with the Subselect tool and push it on the top, just like so. Or you can simply also push this on the bottom, so you can try a different adjustment, but I will just push one of the bottom, one of the points to the top. Then grab these direction handles and also maybe change some direction, but I don't want to bother with these small and fine details. Of course, you can add some of them on yourself. You can make your own mind, of course. Let me create a swatch that is also a liner gradient, And let me apply this watch. I will comment this gradient just in a minute, just in a second. So in the bottom, in the away from a spot, I have 973883, and in the top toward spot, I have 4268 D4. And last but not least, we need to Control Shift D to clone our object. Now it's cloned, and select push it to the bottom, or select the bottom path, the bottom duplicate. And once you select this bottom duplicate, apply the blur. Now it's, you see, it's emanates some light here. Do the same with all of your windows. Here, so Ctrl Shift D to create a bunch of duplicate, then Ctrl down arrow to put this duplicate on the bottom of your original object, and then apply the blur. And you can play with this blur as well. And guys, last but not least, this design, it looks very handsome. Basically, let's delete it. It looks very handsome, I should admit, but you can put it in context. Now, I don't think this is white is the best background to behold this image, right? So you can, for example, create a night scene, right? Let me delete all of this garbage, or just hide it. I will hide all of these details. In order to do this, I can create a new layer group and put everything into this layer group. So I will do just this, and then I will toggle the visibility. So let me, this red spot I will also delete. I will grab my last thing is our main background, and then I'll play with this background. And as you can see, now it's dark color. You see it right now. It's brought our illustration to life, and maybe you even can play with the gradients as well. So you can start from the light from here, from this spot, lighter background, and change everything here. Maybe since we have a very cold colors, generally the warmest color here is this pink. We can leave the black color as our second with this. So, and this is how you can create this vibrant isometric building using the isometric grid here in Gravit Designer. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you do not forget to follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, do not forget to check the article that explains you the difference between isometric, dimetric, trimetric, and other kinds of projections, because it's also helpful to learn theory first and then practice. It will help you to create better illustrations. And last but not least, guys, join Gravit Designer user group, join Gravit Designer tutorials group to learn more from me and other designers. So, thank you for watching, have a great day.